Good evening and thank you for joining us on India Business Hour. I'm Arundhati Ramnan and with me is Archana Solanki. These are the top headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Reliance Industries reports a strong operational performance in the third quarter, helped by strong traction in its consumer and upstream oil businesses. Refining margins beat estimates. Jio's average revenue per user improves further to 178 rupees. Its retail business delivers steady growth across consumption baskets, led by groceries and consumer electronics.
Certainly, we are engaged very closely with the current shareholders and make sure that there is enough capital is brought into the company so that it survives.
Capital from the promoters, you mean?
Yes.
Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav puts the onus on the promoters of Vodafone Idea to infuse capital, says government converting the company's dues into equity won't help infuse capital. That's an exclusive.
We must all understand that as a auto industry, that this is huge. You know, it's like a patient on a huge life support system almost, and it can't go on forever.
Rajiv Bajaj says e-scooters will become costlier by 30% if subsidies are withdrawn. Adds that Bajaj Auto will launch at least 6 EV products this year. He says he is not a big supporter of subsidies and calls for immediate clarity on what will happen after the 31st of March 2024.
Google parent Alphabet will lay off 12,000 people across product areas, functions, levels and regions. CEO Sundar Pichai says that they had hired for a different economic reality than the one they face today.
New age businesses continue to cut cost. Food delivery platform Swiggy cuts more than 6% of its workforce, laying off 380 employees. CEO of Swiggy apologizes and calls it an extremely difficult decision.
The Bombay High Court quashes Yes Bank's 8,500 crore rupee write-off of additional Tier 1 bonds in 2020 as a part of a restructuring exercise. Sources say Yes Bank is likely to challenge the order in the Supreme Court.
The government announces mandatory paid content disclosure guidelines for social media and financial influencers. Says they would need to disclose their material connection with a brand. Announces penalties of up to 10 lakh rupees for non-compliance and 50 lakh rupees for repeat offenders.
Aviation regulator imposes a 30 lakh rupee penalty on Air India after a man allegedly urinated on a fellow passenger. Also suspends the license of the pilot in command of the flight. Also imposes a 3 lakh rupee penalty on the director of in-flight services.
The Bombay High Court grants interim bail to Videocon Group's promoter Venugopal Dut in the ICICI Bank loan fraud case. Former ICICI Bank CEO Chanda Kochar and her husband Deepak Kochar were also granted interim bail earlier this month.
25 years since he founded Netflix, Reed Hastings is taking a step back. Ted Sarandos and Greg Peter appointed as co-CEOs. Hastings will continue to stay on as executive chairman.
The wrestlers' protest against the federation and its president enters the third day. Wrestlers say they will not settle for anything less than the resignation of the chief Brij Bhushan Singh. Singh remains defiant, says he won't resign.
All right, let's start with the